Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Let me thank Aziza and in general the whole Urban Days for inviting me to chair this session, which is very dynamic, as you will see. So we'll try to go over a number of different things. My name is José Antonio Ardamin. I'm the head of the Latin America and the Caribbean division at the OECD Global Relations and Cooperation Directorate. And it's my pleasure to chair this session on Deep Dive 2, From Drain to Gain, Rethinking Water in a Circular Economy. I think for this group, there's no need for convincement of the fact that water and circular economy have a very virtuous cycle. Actually, at least for us, those of us that are not experts on water or circular economy, we always recall from school this cycle of water, and it's probably one of the elements that has a cycle very much embedded in the cycle of water. However, as you know, water is one of the humanity's most precious resources. Yet the growing demand, pollution, climate change are placing immense pressure on existing water systems worldwide. The circular water economy offers a transformative framework for managing water as a resource, focusing on reducing waste, increasing efficiency, creating sustainable solutions across the entire water cycle, producing energy and secondary material. This session will explore the principles of circular economy applied to water, from reducing consumption and preventing water pollution to optimizing wastewater treatment and enhancing water use. The other feature of this session, and probably that's why they invited me, is this focus on Latin America as a case in point to bring this discussion on water and circular economy. As you know, the Latin America and the Caribbean region holds a strategic position globally, playing a crucial role in advancing sustainability effort, including progress in the Paris Agreement and COP commitments. The region holds 40% of the world's freshwater reserves and receives 29% of global precipitation, offering the highest per capita availability of agricultural land and water, making it indispensable for addressing global environmental challenges. But at the same time, the LAC region is one of the most affected by climate change, with extreme weather events increasing by 62% between 2001 and 2022. And countries like Mexico and Chile are amongst the countries with highest water stress. So Latin America is a very important region for this particular discussion of how we can enhance efficiency and use water in the best way. So this session will start precisely with the launch of the report on circular water economy in Latin America, which explores the current landscape, challenges, and opportunities for the circular economy in 10 Latin American countries: Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Honduras, Mexico, Paraguay, Peru, and Uruguay. The new report will give us some food for thought and discussion. We invite majors, governments, and stakeholders to share best practices on regulatory frameworks, financing mechanisms, capacity building to transition from linear to water circular economy. One of the other things that I should say also of why Latin America is very relevant for this session is because, as you know, Latin America is also very active on many of these aspects. One of the issues very evident for all of you is that Costa Rica is, with France, one of the co-presidents of the UN Conference of Oceans that we'll have just in a few weeks. In the case of the Latin America Regional Program of the OECD, Costa Rica was also one of the champions of putting an environmental sustainability priority. And from that emerged an action plan where circular economy is one of the elements of that action plan. And as you know as well, Brazil will be hosting later the World Circular Economy Forum in May in Sao Paulo, and obviously is hosting the COP at the end of the year. So as you see, Latin America also plays a very important role. So with this brief introduction, let me turn to the first part of the meeting, which will be the presentation of the report by the IDB and the OECD on the circular water economy in Latin America. For that, I give the floor first to Aziza Aghmouch, Head of Cities, Urban Policies and Sustainable Development Division in the OECD. Thank you, Aziza.
Thanks a lot, Jose Antonio, and it's great to see Sergio Campos online. Sergio is our partner in crime from IDB for not only the session that we are co-convening today, but also the report number 9. I told you yesterday we are launching 15, so this is number 9. On the circular water economy in Latin America, which I must say was a fascinating journey for us at the OECD, because this was a beautiful way to converge in terms of two streams of work that have kept us very busy for the past half a decade at least. One is the water governance angle, and we've been spending with many of you around this table years telling OECD member countries that they should not take their levels of security in terms of water for granted, and more recently working extensively with Latin America, notably Brazil, Peru, and Argentina, all of them being countries in the accession process to the OECD. And on the other hand, the circular economy angle, which has kept us busy for this entire day. And we thought this was a very nice illustration of how we can show in a very tangible way in a country where we see a series of countries actually, where we see many hotspots and tensions around water use, how to make sure that every drop counts. So this is what this report is doing, basically advocating for a circular water transition, insisting that the circular water economy is not luxury, it is a necessity, that the objective of a circular water economy is to reduce water use, to enhance efficiency, not only in production, but also in consumption, to promote water reuse and recycling, and to recover valuable energy and materials from wastewater. And this is all the more important because those mega trends that we've been talking about for the last day and a half, whether they relate to climate change or to population growth or to rapid urbanization, are completely reshaping water demand. They're putting a lot of stress on infrastructure, and they're exposing our economies and our societies to unsustainable costs if no action is taken, and with the current linear model of take, make, and dispose approach. And I think the Latin American continent actually was a beautiful candidate for such a first ever spotlight on the circular water economy at that macro regional level. Why? Because we've seen over the last few years, as I said earlier, increasing tensions that show the extent to which water scarcity, as one of the many water risks that governments have to manage concomitantly, you would need to add to the too little water, the too polluted water, the too much water, but also the service provision of drinking water and sanitation. We have seen that some countries that were rather rich in terms of water resources, we could take Brazil as an example, 12% of freshwater availability worldwide, have gone into very heightened tensions across big cities like Rio, for example, and Sao Paulo. We heard in the earlier session the example of Montevideo. We heard the example of Bogota. A lot is happening out there that makes visible somehow the invisible, and something that maybe was considered an issue only for developing countries or water scarce countries from the onset is turning into a hot potato for many of these governments. And the data is actually self-speaking, because in the continent, we see that 1 in 4 people still lack access to safely managed drinking water. We see that 2/3 are without safe sanitation. We see that over 50% of domestic wastewater flow in the region are untreated compared to 14% in Europe and 42% globally. And this lack of treatment is actually leading to medium to extremely high physical water risks, with, of course, as often is the case, rural areas being disproportionately affected. While 40% of household wastewater is treated in urban areas, only 9% is treated for rural communities. And this is why we have decided to put a spotlight on the region and to unpack some of the drivers, and I'll tell you very short, in a very short format, the three main takeaways from the report, and of course invite you to go online and download the report and read it, in addition to the country profiles for each of the 10 Latin American countries that take you through the specifics. We see when it comes to the drivers that 8 of the 10 countries say water scarcity is the main driver to transition to circularity. 6 of them actually acknowledge also the need to address water pollution, to improve access to drinking water, and to build climate resilience, and that circular principles can help. For that, we see that most of these countries are operating under linear models, but there are seeds of the transformation that is needed to drive this circular transition. 7 countries have broad circular economy policies in place, and 6 of them have actually explicitly integrated water into these policies. We single out in particular Brazil and its circular economy roadmap that is promoting, amongst other, recycling technologies across rural and urban settings. We've seen the case of Chile, where drafting gray water reuse regulations has been a boost somehow to advance this conversation. We've seen Costa Rica that has embedded water-related goals in its circular economy bill, and we've seen also Peru that is currently embracing a number of initiatives like the Circular Economy Pact to enhance water efficiency. And what these examples are actually showing is that it is possible, but that they also show a number of gaps that these countries are facing and that have somehow shaped the recommendations. And this is where I conclude of the reports. Gaps in terms of the regulatory frameworks and the institutional fragmentation, gaps in terms of the inadequate financing, and gaps in terms of the awareness and capacity. And for each of these, you have in the reports a number of very concrete actions that local and national governments can embrace to strengthen regulatory frameworks, making sure they update the outdated rules, they align sector, they enable innovation through regulatory sandboxes, for example, or other mechanisms for cross-sector integration, that they adapt financing mechanisms, but also leverage economic instruments to signal scarcity, to incentivize behavioral change, to collect revenues that can then be invested into the sector, and to make sure that there is actually an economic case for regenerated materials and energy. And then a last batch of recommendations around stakeholder engagement and capacity, anything that relates to data, to transparency, to awareness raising, that are not just technical necessities, they're actually the foundations of trust and long-term change, and they are required to enable decision making. So we were really proud, and I would like to thank again our IDB counterparts for the amazing political and technical support in this journey. Really proud to launch this piece, which I'm sure is the beginning of a series of dialogues with each of these countries. And let me conclude, Chair, with a big thanks to my team, Oriana in particular, as the lead of this, and you can indeed, they deserve a round of applause. That was a lot of work, and in her team, George, Juliette, Ender, and a few others that have worked very hard, but also in Sergio's team, all the colleagues from IDB that have been instrumental to get us here. Thank you very much.
Very good. Now we turn to the IDB, Sergio Campos, the Chief of Water and Sanitation Division from the IDB, that will present together with Asisa the findings of the report. Sergio, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jose Antonio. Good morning from Washington, D.C. to all of you, the ones that are in person in the meeting, and to all of those that are joining us virtually. Let me first thank you, Jose Antonio, Asisa, and Oriana, and the team for for the production of this report and for including us to be part of this report. I would also like to highlight the contributions of all the countries that have participated. Jose Antonio mentioned them: Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Honduras, Mexico, Paraguay, Peru, and Uruguay. All of them together are probably more than 70% of the population of Latin America. Let me start by saying that at the IDB, we've always said that the Latin America runs on water. And why do we say that? Most of our exports depend on water, from say soy to flowers to beef, even to minerals that depend on water. Circularity is essential for Latin America to be part of our DNA. 80% of our agriculture is rain-fed. Can you imagine that? 80% rain-fed, the potential that we have to increase our efficiency in that sense. And close to 70% of our energy comes from hydropower generation. So the Latin American economy runs on water. Being circular and being intelligent and being strategic in how we manage this resource is going to be key for us. As Jose Antonio mentioned at the beginning, Latin America holds more than 1/3, close to 40% of the freshwater resources of the world, yet significant challenge due to rapid urbanization and inadequate infrastructure, among others, are affecting the water security, our water security. Key issues include water scarcity. Unfortunately, in Latin America, droughts, as Aziza mentioned, are synonyms of water scarcity. Pollution due to the lack of untreated water, insufficient access to quality of water and sanitation services for the population. Some of the key findings of this report include that the current state, the challenges and opportunities of the circular water for the Latin American countries, and the report emphasizes the importance of reducing water use, enhancing water efficiency, promoting water reuse and recycling, and recovering energy and materials from wastewater treatment. In the report, we highlighted the challenges in 4 aspects. First of all, water scarcity. 25% of the population don't have access to safe drinking water. They receive a non-continuous service for the most part. And there's an opportunity from the circular economy perspective or from our approach. Reducing water use and increasing water efficiency can help address water scarcity, implementing advanced water-saving technologies and reducing non-revenue water. The average of non-revenue water in Latin America is close to 40%. So we need to invest in infrastructure maintenance and upgrades as crucial steps. New technologies are there in order to help us reduce non-revenue water, for example. The second key challenge is in water pollution. As mentioned, 54% of the domestic water flows in the Latin America is untreated, compared to 14% in Europe and North America. From a circular economy approach, promoting water reuse, recycling, and significantly reduce water pollution, treating wastewater to appropriate standard allows it to be reused for agricultural irrigation, for industrial cooling, for landscaping, thereby conserving freshwater resources and reducing pollution. The third aspect that we looked at is water security and natural disasters. As mentioned in the beginning, Latin America is highly vulnerable to the hydrological events. 74% of our natural disasters in Latin America are water-related, including floods, droughts, and storms. From a circular economy approach, recovering energy and material from wastewater treatment can enhance resilience and climate change. Technologies can capture thermal, chemical, hydraulic energy from wastewater, can reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and provide renewable energy sources. In terms of water, access to water and sanitation services, in 2020, 2/3 of the population in Latin America did not have adequate management for sanitation. From an economic circular economy aspect, in enhancing water efficiency and promoting the use of treated wastewater can help improve access to drinking water and sanitation. Implementing circular water management practices can ensure adequate wastewater supplies and reduce the environmental impacts associated with the water life cycle and supply chains. There were also policy recommendations, very important to be able to embrace circularity from the national government or from the local governments. From the regulatory and policy frameworks, the recommendations are update and streamline regulations to enhance circular economy principles and water policies, upgrade circular criteria into public procurement to create markets for circular water economy outputs, and encourage regulatory innovation. Innovation is going to be key. It's going to be the key that enables the circular economy to flourish through mechanisms like regulatory sandboxes. The policy recommendations from the finance and economic tools include assess and reduce investment needs by prioritizing cost-effective measures such as reducing non-revenue water, applying life cycle approaches to investment decisions to reduce operation and maintenance costs, and diversify sources of finance, including leveraging private sector investments and collaborating with regional development banks like the IDB, the World Bank, CAF. Last but not least, stakeholder engagement and capacity building, and probably one of the most important, raise awareness and promote effective stakeholder engagement to ensure community support and understanding, ensure that decision makers and practitioners have the necessary skills to implement circular water practices, and strengthening transparency and accountability by monitoring key metrics related to water management circularity. Finally, this report is going to be of tremendous help for the bank, guiding policies and investment decisions. The IDB will use the insight and recommendation from this report to guide policy and investment decisions in the water sector across Latin America and the Caribbean. This report will also inform the development of new projects and initiatives aimed at promoting circular water economy practices. Among the 10 countries that have participated in this report, they have already witnesses and ensured collaboration, learnings from each other, from best practices to lessons learned. It will also help us to support our country members. The bank will continue facilitating knowledge exchange and collaboration among countries to share best practices and innovative solutions to promote water security and circularity. And last, promoting regional collaboration. The IDB will foster regional collaboration to address common water challenges and leverage collective strength. The bank will work with regional development banks in order to partner to close the infrastructure gaps and promote research and innovation into a circular water management. In conclusion, this report emphasizes the urgency of transforming to a circular economy to address the pressing challenges that Latin America faces today and will face in the future. Second, it highlights the potential benefits of circular water economy, including improved water security, economic growth, and environmental sustainability. And finally, encourage collaboration among governments, private sector, and civil society to implement the recommendations and actions outlined in this report. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sergio. And this is just another demonstration of the very fruitful cooperation we have with the IDB. And I am very proud every time we have a new report on Latin America. This will be certainly one that will have a lot of impact, as it was said. But it was said here in the discussion that a lot of these issues of water have to do with local economy. So now we will turn to majors to hear from them on the specifics of the challenges and policy recommendations and implementation of innovation, as it was mentioned. Let me just remind everybody that we have interpretation into French and English in case you need, and this session will also be registered and put online at a later stage. So let me turn first to the major of Renca, Chile, Claudio Nicolás Castro. The main question for all the majors is, what are the main challenges in fostering circular economy in water? What are the lessons we can learn from concrete inspirational examples in Chile, Renca, in Morocco, and in France to implement circular water economy solutions? So I turn to you, Claudio. Thank you for being with us.
Okay, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here and share the experience of Renca in related to this great topic. Let me first of all speak about Renca. Renca is one of 52 municipalities in the metropolitan region in Santiago. We have this governance challenge. We don't have one city mayor. We have this number of municipalities, so we have to coordinate. And specifically, Renca is 160,000 people borough. We have 24 square meters. It's a densely populated area, and we have socioeconomic challenges also. The city faces a significant green space deficit, all of the west area of the city of Santiago. We only have 3.5 square meters of accessible green areas per inhabitant, which is far below from 18 square meters in the east side of the city. So in 2022, Renca took a step towards sustainable water management by developing our water strategy through an inclusive multi-stakeholder approach. We recognize that water scarcity and climate change require collective action, and that's why the municipality engaged local residents, academic experts, and also the private sector to co-create a vision for resilient water use. In this process, we ensured that the strategy was not only scientifically sound, but also socially equitable, reflecting the needs and knowledge of all our community. Our strategy laid the foundation for two pioneering projects, which are rooted in the circular water economy. The first of them is recycling industrial wastewater. I will speak about this project, which focuses on irrigating the Renca hills. We have big hills in our area of the city. It's just 2 slides, but it's to have the image of the hills, which are 200 hectares green space, which we want to become the new metropolitan park for the whole Santiago Northwest area. And the second project is called the Water Intelligence Center, which is a data-driven hub which is designed to optimize water management through real-time monitoring, predictive analysis, and also evidence-based policy making. So, as I said, the Renca Hills represent a transformative opportunity for the city, not only for the area of Renca, because this vast natural area can also combat urban heat islands. We are in the west area of Santiago. We have this heat island. It's hotter in summer. It's colder in winter. We can also improve our air quality and enhance biodiversity while providing recreational space for our people. However, the prolonged mega drought in Chile, exacerbated by the climate change, has made traditional water sources unreliable. To ensure the park's sustainability, we partnered with the Arch Rockefeller Foundation and also one consultancy of the Catholic University of Chile to develop our water master plan with 3 core goals. The first is guaranteeing drinking water access for future park visitors, ensuring public health and comfort. The second is maximizing non-conventional water sources, including treated industrial effluent, stormwater capture, and possibly desalinated water to reduce the dependence of fresh water supplies. And the third goal is to mitigate climate risks such as wildfires, which we have on the hills on summer, through a smart irrigation, drought-resistant vegetation, and early warning systems. A standout feature on our plan is the collaboration with the major beverage companies. In Renca, we have the Cola War. We have Coca-Cola and also CCU, which is PepsiCo, a local partner of PepsiCo, and we can work together with them and ally them for sustainability. This partnership exemplifies the circular water economy, turning waste into a resource while reducing the pressure on the municipal systems. Additionally, the plan incorporates nature-based solutions, such as phased reforestation with native species, to enhance water retention and soil health. By combining water reuse, cross-sector cooperation, and adaptive governance, Renca's Water Master Plan provides a scalable blueprint for cities facing water stress. It demonstrates how urban green spaces can thrive even in arid conditions through innovation and shared responsibility. As climate challenges intensify, our approach offers valuable lessons for implementing the local circular water economies worldwide, proving that sustainability, resilience, and community well-being can go hand in hand. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A very interesting case of a combination of data with private sector collaboration. So let me turn now to the mayor of Chefchaouen in Morocco, Mohamed Sefiani. Let me remind everybody or the mayors to stick. We are a bit behind the time so that we can really focus on the key messages. Thank you, Mr. Sefiani.
Thank you very much, Chair. Dear friends, dear colleagues, I will switch to French. Merci beaucoup pour m'avoir invité à cette session très importante sur un sujet crucial qui est la question de l'eau. Je suis le maire de la ville de Chefchaouen, qui est la ville peinte en bleu au Maroc, qui est très connue en termes d'écotourisme, ce qui nous donne un peu plus de pression sur les ressources et notamment la ressource de l'eau. Donc la relation de la ville avec l'eau, elle est existentielle parce que le choix du site de Chefchaouen par son fondateur, il a choisi parce qu'il y a une grande source d'eau qui s'appelle Ras El-Ma à Chefchaouen. Sauf que avec ces changements climatiques, cette grande source d'eau n'est pas suffisante du tout pour alimenter la ville en eau potable. Et si je parle en chiffres, c'est un débit qui arrive jusqu'à 1400 litres par seconde, mais avec la sécheresse, il diminue jusqu'à 60 litres par seconde, de 1400 à 60, avec des besoins de la ville d'environ 100. Donc, c'est pour cela, au niveau de la ville, au niveau de notre plan stratégique de développement, la question de l'eau, on l'a mis comme priorité. Et nous avions raison parce que le Maroc, mon pays, vit maintenant sa 7e année de sécheresse consécutive. Et c'est un sujet maintenant de priorité nationale. Et il y a donc 2 ans un projet important de sécurisation de la ville à travers l'eau de barrage sur une vingtaine de kilomètres pour le traiter, etc. Celui qui nous a sauvé la situation actuellement. Il nous donne bien sûr une autonomie d'au moins 1 an sans pluviométrie. Ma ville et ma province de Chefchaouen est l'une des provinces les plus pluvieuses au Maroc. Ça, c'est important. Mais quand même, nous vivons ces impacts du changement climatique. Autre chose que nous avions fait, c'est les rendements techniques du réseau. Parce que nous savons que la moitié, nous avions à peu près 50%, ça veut dire la moitié de l'eau produite, elle est perdue dans les réseaux. Donc, un travail de renouvellement des réseaux a été fait. On arrive maintenant à peu près 75%. C'est une bonne moyenne parce que si on dépasse les 80% en investissement, ce n'est pas justifié. Donc, c'est une bonne chose. Et aussi, en termes de sensibilisation, aussi, on l'a fait. Et l'assainissement, on a eu une station d'épuration de bois activé, donc dernière génération, ce qui nous a de récupérer ces eaux usées et de les réutiliser dans d'autres utilisations, et notamment les espaces verts. Au niveau régional, je fais partie du conseil régional, donc nous avons maintenant un programme prioritaire de dessalement. Parce que pour nous, maintenant, au Maroc, c'est toutes les villes côtières doivent avoir leur station de dessalement. Et ça a déjà démarré avec Casablanca, Rabat, Tanger au niveau de ma ville et au niveau de ma région. Et là, c'est important. Puis, un autre programme très important, c'est les autoroutes de l'eau pour connecter les bassins hydrauliques. Parce qu'il y a des bassins hydrauliques qui sont riches en eau, mais il y en a d'autres qui sont très pauvres en eau. Donc, les connecter, ça demande beaucoup de financement, beaucoup d'investissement. Et puis, le programme de réutilisation, dans ce contexte de circularité, de réutilisation, ce que nous appelons reuse, donc les réutilisations des eaux usées pour l'arrosage et notamment pour les espaces verts. On n'a pas une loi maintenant ou des normes pour l'agriculture, mais pour les espaces verts, c'est ouvert. Et maintenant, beaucoup de villes du nord du Maroc en général, qui ont fait un grand effort. Je terminerai par dire, nous, au Maroc, on est à peu près 94% du taux de branchement individuel. C'est un bon taux, même au milieu urbain, il est très élevé. Il y a bien sûr les branchements individuels, il y a aussi les fontaines collectives. On est bon par rapport à l'Afrique. L'Afrique, c'est 60%, mais on est bon. Mais il y a la question de la gouvernance qui est importante. La question de la gouvernance est importante. Nous avions plusieurs opérateurs. Dans ma ville, par exemple, nous avions un office national de l'eau potable. Dans des villes voisines, il y a des régies ou bien une gestion déléguée. Maintenant, il y a un projet national de création des sociétés régionales où il y a l'implication des élus locaux dans le système des conseils d'administration. Et ça, c'est hyper important. Donc, dans ma région, maintenant, je fais partie du conseil d'administration de cette société régionale qui rejoint l'eau, l'assainissement, l'électricité pour avoir, bien sûr, un déséquilibre financier, parce qu'il y a des secteurs qui financent des autres. Et ça, c'est une bonne stratégie. D'ici la fin d'année, les 12 régions du Maroc auront ces sociétés régionales de là. Et je terminerai par l'accès à la finance. L'accès à la finance, on en parle beaucoup, mais on sait que seulement à peu près 10% de la finance climat, par exemple, qui arrive aux villes. Malgré on parle beaucoup par rapport à ça, je crois qu'il est important, et pas seulement au niveau de la mitigation, au niveau de l'atténuation, mais surtout maintenant au niveau de la résilience, et l'offre en fait partie. Je crois qu'il est hyper important de renverser ça, de donner plus de facilité à l'accès à la finance. Beaucoup d'initiatives vont de ce sens-là. Je vois mes collègues de la commission SDG Finance et l'Université Pennsylvania, etc. Nous travaillons je fais partie de cette commission-là, nous travaillons au niveau mondial de revoir. Il y a une première idée, un premier projet qui va sortir prochainement sur le Guarantee Fund, le Green Guarantee Fund, qui est important parce qu'on sait en termes de bailleurs de fonds, c'est pas évident de donner directement aux villes sans passer par les États. Et par ça, donc cette question finance, je crois, il faut qu'on continue à y travailler. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Sefiani. Merci pour nous rappeler l'importance de la gouvernance et cette affaire de financement. Cette année qu'on a aussi la réunion mondiale sur le financement pour le développement, ça c'est vraiment un défi important. Et l'innovation sur le dessalement, on voit comme les pays comme le Maroc ont d'innovation très, très pratique pour les autres pays. Je vais tourner à un autre pays dans la langue française, la France, notre pays hôte, les Grigny, Philippe Rion.
Merci, bonjour à toutes et à tous. Permettez-moi de remercier l'OCDE pour ces 4 journées d'études. Nous arrivons à mi-étape, c'est la mi-temps ce soir. Permettez-moi de remercier les équipes mobilisées pour des échanges qui sont rafraîchissants et porteurs d'espoir dans un contexte difficile. Permettez-moi également de rappeler ce que j'ai pu dire lundi matin lors de notre rencontre avec l'ensemble des maires champions, que si nous voulons bâtir des villes inclusives, nous devons nous appuyer et mettre au cœur de nos politiques publiques les droits humains. S'agissant du sujet qui nous concerne cet après-midi, premièrement, vous parlez d'économie circulaire, de résilience et d'énergie renouvelable. Comment l'économie circulaire a répondu dans un territoire que je vais décrire à l'urgence sociale et écologique et qui est devenu, 10 ans après, un outil de planification urbaine pour une transition écologique juste socialement. Grigny est comprise dans la métropole parisienne de ses 12 millions d'habitants, à 30 km au sud de Paris, dans un groupement de communes qui représente 350 000 habitants. Et 6 mois après ma prise de fonction de maire, j'ai eu la surprise d'une annonce un peu difficile lorsqu'un opérateur privé est venu me voir pour me dire « Monsieur le maire, l'habitat privé très dégradé dans votre ville est en impayé de charges de chauffage et je vais devoir couper le chauffage et l'eau chaude sanitaire pour 17 000 habitants, 5 000 logements et 22 équipements publics, dont des écoles. » C'est là la résilience, évidemment, ou comment, à partir de crise, nous pouvons saisir les opportunités. Nous avons fait le choix de l'économie circulaire, puisque 5 ans après, nous avons bâti notre résilience sur l'utilisation de l'eau. Non pas l'eau des fleuves, Grigny touche la Seine, Vous savez, la Seine qui traverse Paris. Grigny, c'est aussi une zone humide de plus de 60 hectares qui nous oblige à préserver et à valoriser, mais c'est aussi l'eau qui est sous nos pieds. Nous connaissons les nappes phréatiques, souvent utilisées pour la consommation des usagers, mais quand on regarde un peu plus profond en région parisienne, il y a 1600-1800 mètres sous nos pieds de l'eau chaude, qui s'appelle la géothermie, qui a été beaucoup utilisée en région parisienne lors du premier et deuxième pic pétrolier pour sortir des énergies fossiles. Et donc, nous avons été chercher cette chaleur pour chauffer cet ensemble immobilier de 5000 logements et sortir aussi des énergies fossiles et du marché volatile que représentaient les énergies fossiles, en l'occurrence du gaz naturel. Aujourd'hui, nous avons pu donc, à l'heure actuelle où je vous parle, desservir 23 000 équivalents logements. C'est 35 000 tonnes de CO2 en moins dans l'atmosphère, 27 km de réseau. Et nous concernons aujourd'hui, nous délivrons la chaleur dans plus de 8 villes et 10 quartiers pauvres, 10 quartiers prioritaires de ce pays. À l'horizon 2028, puisque nous allons encore plus loin, nous allons doubler ce réseau de chaleur géothermique par l'eau chaude qui sort à 72 degrés de nos forages pour desservir 50 000 logements, 60 km de réseau et être quasiment le premier réseau de géothermie de France. J'ai également la chance d'être président de cette entreprise publique de géothermie, mais aussi d'être président d'une autre entreprise publique de régie de distribution d'eau potable et d'assainissement, qui m'a donné l'occasion d'ailleurs de participer à la conférence mondiale à l'ONU, qui ne s'était pas réunie depuis 47 ans, c'était 44 ans à l'époque, 47 ans, qui était en Argentine d'ailleurs, à Mar del Plata, pour parler pour parler économie circulaire, croissance économique et sobriété écologique. Mon voisin vous a parlé de la nécessité de collaborer avec les activités économiques parce que bien évidemment, il y a souvent des conflits d'usage en matière d'eau. Les habitants, lorsque l'on est en milieu agricole, le monde agricole, très consommateur, notamment dans nos pays, et puis nous devons aussi concilier, parce que nous sommes force organisatrice, les activités et l'usage de l'eau par l'activité économique. Deux petits points qui vont terminer mes propos. Le premier, c'est le choix que nous avons fait d'une industrie économe en eau dans une filière économique très consommatrice d'eau. Et donc, nous avons favorisé et nous inaugurerons cette usine de lingerie et blanchisserie qui consomme énormément d'eau à l'échelle industrielle, d'une société qui est unique en France puisqu'elle consomme 30% d'eau en moins que ses concurrents, qui a un modèle breveté qui permet la réutilisation des eaux usées industrielles. Et puis l'autre sujet, je ne voulais pas faire de publicité pour un grand groupe d'embouteillage de boissons gazeuses, mais mon voisin a cité le nom dont le siège est situé à Atlanta, qui est composé de deux noms, commençant à chaque fois par un C et un A, parce que sur ma commune, il y a aussi ce qui est aujourd'hui le vaisseau amiral de l'usine de Coca-Cola. Je l'ai dit, mais mon voisin m'avait devancé. Donc cette société a décidé de faire du site de ma ville le site le plus important avec un nouveau système d'embouteillage, le verre qui n'existait pas pour être le plus exact, et qui a décidé d'assurer une transition écologique de son modèle industriel par du panneau photovoltaïque. Nous avons réussi à changer son modèle en matière d'approvisionnement de chaleur, puisqu'il a accepté de se brancher à notre réseau de géothermie et de sortir de l'électricité. Et puis, ce qui a été un peu plus difficile, mais ce que nous avons réussi, et c'était le 31 mars dernier, nous avons inauguré cette nouvelle ligne de production, nous avons changé le modèle d'eau, puisque ce grand groupe puisait dans la nappe phréatique Et bien évidemment, le changement climatique accélère les stress hydriques. En 2023, en France, plus de la moitié des nappes phréatiques étaient à 2 tiers vides. Et même si nous sommes en région parisienne, dans un climat plutôt océanique, tempéré, nous avons souffert de... Oh, je ne trouve plus le mot. De sécheresse, pardon. Merci. De sécheresse. Et donc, nous avons demandé à cet industriel qui consommait beaucoup d'eau de préserver la ressource naturelle, ce qu'il a accepté. Et nous avons signé il y a très récemment un contrat de livraison et de distribution d'eau qui est géré par la puissance publique pour préserver au maximum les ressources naturelles. Bien évidemment, d'autres sujets, mais je serai comme mon voisin de droite. En conclusion, je dirais qu'il y a un retard criant entre nos expériences locales, les initiatives locales qui sont publiques-privées, parfois complètement privées, comme j'ai tenté de le démontrer, sur l'ingénierie financière et bancaire pour faire face à ces enjeux climatiques, du quotidien et d'hyper-proximité dans nos villes. L'eau, vous le savez, c'est du temps long et les financements ne sont pas adaptés à ce temps long. Et l'eau, c'est aussi, quoi qu'il en soit, une gestion locale qui peut être communale, interdépartementale, régionale, mais à un moment, la géographie nous rappelle qu'il faut une gestion locale. Et donc, nous avons besoin de ces outils financiers qui nous permettent de gagner ce magnifique défi que nous avons tous à relever, celui d'une eau de qualité pour toutes et pour tous dans un monde du changement climatique. Merci de votre attention.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le maire. C'est évident qu'il a deux mots, financement et innovation, qui dans les locales sont très clairs à continuer cette discussion. Then let me turn again to Latin America for the second part of this panel. Sorry? Yes. We will have an intervention from Bogota. It's online as well?
No, video.
A video, yes.
Bogota is going through a tough environmental moment. 2023 and 2024 were some of the driest years on record, causing reservoir levels to drop to critical lows. As a result, the city had to implement a water rationing plan. However, that was just an emergency measure. Bogota is now working on diversifying its strategies for managing water, focusing on long-term solutions that guarantee future supply without harming ecosystems or the quality of life for its people. One of these strategies is wastewater reuse. And this is no longer a distant project. It's something that is happening right now, something that we can measure and replicate. Replacing drinking water in activities that don't need such high quality water, especially in sectors like industry, construction, and urban cleaning, helps tackle water scarcity while pushing us toward a more efficient, circular, and more resilient relationship with water. La empresa de Acueducto Bogotá, Bogotá's water company, has taken several steps to make treated wastewater reuse an integral part of its water management model. Not only do they have a roadmap to use treated water across the system, but they've also set up an internal water recycling system at the Salitre wastewater treatment plant that lets them reuse treated water in their own processes. Nevertheless, this is a city-wide effort, and due to that, it is very important to work with the private sector. We've designed a pilot project with Cemex, aiming to use treated wastewater in concrete production, which could significantly reduce the demand for drinking water in the construction industry. Right now, Bogota has the technical and operational know-how to prove that wastewater reuse is a real and a strategic option to address water shortages. However, we are at a crucial moment. Regional environmental authorities now need to decide whether they'll approve a wastewater reuse concession requested by the city to keep these operations running, regulated, and expanding, so our city can continue to make solid progress in this regard. It's time to decide. The impact of these decisions could shape Bogotá's water management for years to come.
Aquí sí pasa. Bogotá, mi ciudad, mi casa. Alcaldía Mayor de Bogotá.
Excellent. So as you saw, the majors really provide a lot of innovation, and the link to the private sector is obviously much more evident. Let's turn down to also some national initiatives. And for that purpose, we have the cases of Costa Rica and Paraguay. Here, the key question is, well, water is an important component of national circular economy strategies. Costa Rica integrates water goals in its national circular economy strategy and its circular economy bill, and stressing consumption reduction and wastewater treatment. Paraguay, on its hand, has a very strong water use, from transport to energy to many other uses. So we will hear also from Paraguay on energy generation and decarbonization of water and sanitation sector. Based on your experience, what is the need to foster circular economy approach to water in your countries? Let's start with Carlos Cordero, Director of the Secretariat of Sectoral Planning of Environment and Energy of the Ministry of Environment and Energy of Costa Rica. Mr. Cordero, yes, please.
Thank you very much, Antonio, and thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to me to speak and explain the Costa Rica case. Costa Rica is in the top 5 of most rainy countries in the world, with so many benefits as always green forest, fresh water available, and another ecosystem services. But the abundance of water resources does not imply water security, because the risk of pollution, but also the financing of new infrastructure can be difficult for countries in the global south. For this reason, the water circularity is a smart and strategical way to improve the water management. In Costa Rica, water is a cross-cutting axis within our national circular economy strategy and the proposed circular economy law, which integrates clear goals for reducing water consumption, reducing wastewater, and improving efficiency throughout the water cycle. Based on our experience, we identified 5 key elements to enable a circular water economy. Number 1, circular infrastructure and nature-based solutions. We are promoting green infrastructure and sustainable urban drainage systems, such as rain gardens and artificial wetlands, to enhance water infiltration, natural purification, and resilience to climate-related floods. And this is also useful in the dry season to take advantage to the excess of rainfall from the rain season and looking for balance. Number 2, inclusive and intersectoral governance to encourage coordination and data. We have an intersectoral committee on circular economy and brings together at the same table the public sector, the private sector, companies, and academia. In fact, a big achievement has been the inclusion of the national banking chambers, which represents both public and private banks, as well as another financial entities. This is crucial to ensure the financial sector prioritize circularity projects. In the context of Costa Rica has developed some tools as a green taxonomy, a national sustainable finance classification system, a diagnosis of the financial ecosystem in Costa Rica, and training of the entire financial system to identify, classify, and finance circular projects. So better governance results in better data and finance. Number 3, education and innovation from academia. As a member of our Intersectoral Circular Economy Committee, the National Technical University in the northern of the country is opening a research laboratory on circularity this year. And it has also begun incorporating circular economy courses and schemes into several engineering and other academic programs, building the capacities of future professionals to design and operate circular systems. This university is a very active member of our committee, in fact. Number 4, awareness and water culture. This is the part of the local action and people power. At the local level, educational campaigns and school programs promote rational water use, and community participation in administration and monitoring water sources, with focus on social responsibility and knowledge. This is always a constant challenge. And number 5, concrete circular water projects like Los Tajos water waste treatment plant, which not only treats wastewater from the metropolitan area, including the main cities of the country, but also seeks to recover energy and useful byproducts. Food industry pilot projects focused on recirculating processed water, significantly reducing potable water consumption, as Nico Verde company, located in a watershed with significant water stress for human consumption in cities and other uses outside the city. It contributes to a territorial planning vision for water use and circularity. In summary, advancing toward a circular water economy requires systemic transformation, aligning policy, education, innovation, finance, and community action with a long-term and inclusive vision in public policy, without forgetting that this is a constant challenge that requires review and updating to promote a real innovation according with each context. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carlos, and thank you for reminding us two other things, additional things to what has been said here, the importance of the law, no, and the law that in Costa Rica you have implementing, and I guess we have a lot of capacity here to discuss also on good practices on bringing these principles to law and regulation, so that's another element to dialogue, but also this issue of awareness in education, that in courses of engineering, that we need also to promote so that these principles are embedded in the economy in the future as well. So Paraguay will intervene through a video. Claudia Crosa, Director of Water and Sanitation from the Ministry of Public Works of Paraguay.
Good afternoon to everyone. It's truly an honor to join you today. On behalf of the Ministry of Public Works and Communications of Paraguay, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the OECD for organizing this important event, and to all the co-organizers who make this space for dialogue and collective action possible, including the IDB, UN Habitat, and many others. Let me also congratulate the OECD and the IDB teams for launching the regional report on the circular economy of water. It's a timely and a strategic contribution to building more resilient, inclusive, and sustainable cities and territories. In Paraguay, water has historically been perceived as abundant, and that perception has sometimes led us to undervalue the importance of managing it efficiently and sustainably. But today, we are facing a new reality: climate change, population growth, and human expansion are bringing prolonged droughts, declining water quality, and growing competition between urban, rural, and industrial uses. According to the survey, Paraguay is motivated to move toward a circular water economy by 3 main drivers: scarcity and access limitations, the need for technological innovation, and the opportunities for local development and job creation. While Paraguay doesn't have a dedicated circular water economy policy, several existing regulations address key aspects of it. Our Water Resources Law promotes rational and integrated water use. Our wastewater law mandates treatment before discharge, and technical regulations support water reuse, especially in industry. That said, as the report highlights, the recovery of materials and energy is still in its early stages. There are pilot projects generating biogas from industrial wastewater treatment plants, but the potential is much greater. The report also identifies key barriers we face in this transition, and they resonate strongly with our national diagnosis. For instance, institutional fragmentation with overlapping mandates and no clear coordination framework. There are also gaps in awareness and technical capacity among service providers and local authorities. Moreover, cultural and consumption patterns that demand long-term behavioral change. These challenges are reflected in low water treatment rates, in high levels of non-revenue water, and limited investment in innovation. But there are also real opportunities. From Paraguay's perspective, a circular water economy can be a driver for many things. Decarbonization through water reuse and renewable energy generation. Water security, particularly in vulnerable areas. Economic inclusion by creating new business models and green jobs. And the valorization of byproducts like biosolids and nutrients. The report estimates that the regional economic potential of recovering water, materials, and energy could reach up to $62 billion. That figure should inspire us to think boldly and act ambitiously. Allow me to share a concrete example that reflects our commitment. The sanitation program for the Lake Ipacaraí Basin, co-financed by the IDB with over $150 million. The program aims to expand sewage and treatment coverage, improve environmental management in the basin, and importantly, apply circular economy principles. For instance, treated water will not be discharged outside the system, but instead reused to recharge natural wetlands that feed the lake. This approach will help preserve ecosystems, reduce nutrients load, and rebuild the lake's resilience to drought. The program also strengthens our ministry's capacity to manage climate-related investment and monitor biodiversity impacts. Moreover, the disbursement of IDB CLIMA's non-reimbursable funds will be linked to key performance indicators, including the requirement that 100% of water and sanitation projects approved through Paraguay's National Public Investment System integrate climate change measures. As a ministry, we firmly believe that the transition to a circular water economy is not optional, it's a strategic necessity. That's why we are working on the three key fronts. Number one, strengthening governance through interinstitutional coordination and clearly defined roles. Number two, updating our regulatory and financial frameworks to include circular criteria. Number three, driving innovations by supporting pilot projects, public-private partnerships, and citizen participation. At its core, the circular economy of water is a matter of justice, environmental, social, and intergenerational. From Paraguay, we reaffirm our commitment to move forward, to learn, and to collaborate. May this forum be the beginning of a more ambitious and transformative joint action across Latin America. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Paraguay for the intervention, and just an announcement. Paraguay is going to do a country program with the OECD in the next year, and will include precisely a review on water governance. So next year probably will come with some reports on this issue of Paraguay. Let me turn now. We went from the local to the national, and now to the international, and what OECD and other international organizations can do to support these efforts in the countries. And we are very pleased to have Beatriz Martins from the coordinator of the Latin America and the Caribbean Circular Economy Coalition in UNEP, and we are very glad as OECD to be the newest member of this coalition in Latin America. So thank you very much, Beatriz. Here the point is how can our institutions can build knowledge, can share best practices, how can we support these exchanges of legislation, and what is the coalition doing in this front? Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to have heard from some of the countries that are members of our coalition. So very briefly, the Latin America and the Caribbean Circular Economy Coalition was launched in 2021 in the scope of the Latin America and the Caribbean Forum of Ministers of Environment. It is led by a pool of strategic partners, which includes IDB, CTCN, Ellen MacArthur Foundation, UNIDO, ECLAC, World Economic Forum, and now as well OECD, as you mentioned. But it's led by 6 representatives from governments in the region. So we have Brazil, Colombia, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Peru. And Peru holds the presidency of the coalition for this term, while Costa Rica and Dominican Republic serve as vice presidents. And our focal point just finished talking, Carlos. So it's good to be among very close colleagues and actors that are very active in the coalition, right? So through our Latin America and the Caribbean office, UNEP holds act as the coordination body of the coalition. So also the coalition currently comprises 18 countries from the region, not only the 6 that are in the steering committee of the initiative, but also 18 countries in the region, and other members from various organizations, including academia, private sector, civil society, accounting at a total number of 58 members of the coalition today. Our mission is primarily focusing on promoting the transition to circular economy models in the region, in the LAC region, fostering cross-sector and multi-stakeholder collaboration and a joint agenda. So a key pillar of the coalition's work is sharing knowledge and strengthen institutional and technical capacities. So we promote exchange of experience between the countries. We support countries that are in the process of developing, for example, roadmaps or circular economy strategies. We facilitate those type of South-South exchange opportunities. We hold the Latin America Circular Economy Festival, hopefully every year. and we do other projects. For example, we are doing one now on circular economy finance classification, again with Costa Rica, Uruguay, Chile, and Dominican Republic. And we have developed a number of regional assessments and reports. So, for example, the first regional circularity gap report was done in Latin America, and it was launched in 2023. We also have a shared vision and a consumer engagement report at Latin America and the Caribbean, and other important regional assessments. So I don't want to repeat what everybody already said. So we all acknowledge that water is a critical next step in the context of sustainability and circular economy. We have an increasing global demand for water. It's said that it's projected to increase by 40% by 2030 if the current practice continue. As for the region, experts state that the climate change is profoundly altering the water cycle, as it was mentioned before. So I want just to add one point that have a long brief here, so I will not cover everything. I just wanted to mention one specific topic, which is food production, agriculture. According to the Latin American and the Caribbean Circularity Gap Report, Agriculture is a major water consuming industry in the region, occupying over 1/3 of the land area and utilizing nearly 3/4 of the region's freshwater resources. So this is very in line with the global tendencies, right? Because we know that food production accounts for 70% of freshwater consumption globally. And in agriculture is key to Latin America and the Caribbean. It accounts for 49% of the material footprint in the region. This is data from the Global Resources Outlook that is developed by the International Resource Panel. And yet, I would like to also mention that we have a very unequal region, as you all know. In 2023, 58.1 million people in the region was suffering from hunger. And the region has one of the most expensive healthy diets at the amount of $4.56 and compared with the global average of 3.96. So in 2023 again, 182.9 million people in Latin America and the Caribbean could not afford a healthy diet. So when we talk about all the opportunities we have, and we have opportunities for efficiency, we know that circular economy offers opportunities to optimize water use through measures such as reducing, reusing, and recycling water, as was mentioned by some of the mayors that presented before me. But we need to take into consideration that it's very critical that we act immediately on those topics, because water is essential for food production, for well-being, and we have a very already unequal region that needs to be treated with their particularities. Last thing I will mention is that there is a growing interest from countries around the world and in the region in advancing circular approaches to water. So, for example, countries like Costa Rica, Uruguay, Peru, and Colombia have already included circular water strategies in their national circular economy agendas as a response to improve water management, efficiency, and resilience. So the last thing I want to mention is that in the Forum of Ministers of Environment, it was issued a decision in 2023 where water was mentioned as one key aspect. So it says that, and also it's mentioned in the Bogota Declaration that the coalition issued last year in Bogota during our Latin America and the Caribbean Circular Economy Festival. So I think that this is what I wanted to say in the very brief time that I had. So as a coalition, we are very well positioned to facilitate regional and cross-sector dialogues on circular water systems, promote South-South learning, support and promote exchange and collaboration around pilot initiatives, and help develop a common language and shared understanding between circular economy and water experts. We will be at the World Circular Economy Forum happening in Brazil, in São Paulo in May. We are hosting one session that is focusing on how circular economy principles can transform water management in the Global South. So for you who will be there, please join us, and you will listen a bit more on some Latin America and the Caribbean experiences on circularity in water. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Beatriz, and thank you also for reminding this important link between inequality and water, particularly in Latin America. And we look forward to contributing to the forum, but also to this water element of the Circular Economy Coalition. Let me turn now to, again, in international front, we have development cooperation and how the financing supports this kind of initiative. So we have Lionel Goujon from the head of the Water and Sanitation Division of the French Development Agency. What are the key strategies and funding mechanisms that the AFD is implementing to support the development of a circular economy, water economy in water-scarce regions? Lionel, thank you.
Thank you, Rosé. I will be speaking in French, so grab your headsets if you don't have them. Bonjour à tous. Merci à l'OCDE de m'avoir invité à cette session très intéressante. Peut-être en préliminaire, juste quelques mots sur l'Agence française de développement, pour ceux qui ne la connaissent pas, pour vous dire, je vais essayer de vous donner une perspective sur les enjeux de cette économie circulaire dans le secteur de l'eau de notre point de vue. L'Agence française de développement, c'est la banque publique de développement de la France en charge des partenariats internationaux. Et chaque année, nous engageons environ 1,5 milliard de nouveaux financements dans le secteur de l'eau. Notre portefeuille de projets en exécution à l'heure actuelle, c'est plus de 10 milliards d'euros dans 70 pays, 300 projets, ce qui nous donne un regard assez large, je dirais, sur le secteur de l'eau et ses enjeux à l'échelle internationale. Et donc, c'est donc à travers ce regard que je vais essayer de témoigner. Je voudrais dire tout d'abord que l'économie circulaire de l'eau, de notre point de vue, c'est avant tout un sujet lié au développement de l'assainissement. Donc, beaucoup de pays dans lesquels nous intervenants n'ont pas encore, et notamment à l'épuration donc des eaux usées. Et donc, bien souvent, ces taux d'épuration demeurent faibles. Et donc, il y a un premier effort à faire, qui est celui de développer des stations d'épuration, si on veut ensuite pouvoir aller à des niveaux de traitement qui vont permettre une réutilisation, soit de l'eau, ce qu'on appelle la filière eau, avec donc la réutilisation des eaux usées traitées, soit à travers la filière boue, des boues d'épuration, et pour permettre là une valorisation qui sera énergétique ou agricole. Alors, pourquoi est-ce qu'on s'intéresse à cette économie circulaire de l'eau à l'AFD? En tant qu'agence, nous avons un objectif d'avoir 100% de nos opérations alignées sur les objectifs de développement durable. Et je dois dire que l'économie circulaire de l'eau, c'est sans doute un des sujets qui permet de traiter simultanément et d'avoir des bénéfices sur un nombre très important d'ODD. Il y a bien sûr la cible 6.3 des ODD, celle qui est liée à l'eau, puisque celle-ci, elle vise, vous savez, à augmenter le taux d'épuration, mais aussi à augmenter le taux de réutilisation des eaux usées traitées. Mais on a aussi des impacts forts quand on fait de l'économie circulaire de l'eau sur l'ODD2, par exemple, sur la faim, puisqu'on va sécuriser l'approvisionnement en eau et aussi apporter des intrants agricoles à travers les boues, sur l'ODD7 avec l'énergie propre, hein, puisque va y avoir de la valorisation à travers le biogaz, sur le DD8 avec le travail décent, puisqu'on travaille beaucoup sur les filières de valorisation des boues avec justement des petits entrepreneurs, et puis bien sûr sur le DD13 sur le climat, à la fois sur le volet adaptation, qui est celui auquel je pense on pense le plus rapidement quand on pense à la réutilisation des eaux usées traitées dans des milieux, notamment dans les milieux arides, mais il y a aussi un enjeu d'atténuation très très fort, en particulier parce que la valorisation énergétique des boues, c'est un processus à peu près 100 fois moins émissif que la mise en décharge. Donc on voit qu'il y a des émissions évitées très fortes à travers cette valorisation. Alors, que finançons-nous et où travaillons-nous sur cette économie circulaire de l'eau à l'AFD? Je vous disais qu'on a un portefeuille de projets actifs dans environ 70 pays. J'ai essayé de compter ceux dans lesquels on a des projets en cours liés à la réutilisation des eaux usées traitées ou au bout. Et en fait, il y en a à peine une dizaine. C'est-à-dire que c'est un sujet qui existe, qui est présent, qui croît, je pense, mais qui demeure en fait finalement encore assez marginal dans notre portefeuille d'activité et qui est aujourd'hui encore très fortement concentré autour du bassin méditerranéen, puisque sur la réutilisation des eaux usées traitées, on travaille notamment au Maroc, dans les territoires palestiniens, en Jordanie, en Égypte, et sur le biogaz également au Maroc, en Égypte, en Jordanie, un petit peu au Sénégal aussi, Turquie et Kosovo. Donc là, c'est intéressant parce qu'on voit que c'est des enjeux qui sont abordés des deux côtés de la Méditerranée. Et sur la valorisation des boues, là, c'est un peu plus divers, puisqu'on travaille aussi en République dominicaine, en Côte d'Ivoire, par exemple, des projets qui se structurent au Bangladesh aussi. Alors, pourquoi c'est pas partout? Pourquoi c'est pas tout le temps? Je pense que l'une des difficultés majeures que l'on constate, c'est l'absence de modèle économique. Il y a une volonté de dire on va faire de la réutilisation des eaux usées traitées, où on va valoriser nos boues, mais on ne sait pas vraiment ce qu'on va en faire, on ne sait pas avec qui, et on ne sait pas qui va payer. Le surcoût, en fait, si on prend la filière eau, celle de la réutilisation, le surcoût au niveau d'une STEP, d'une station d'épuration, c'est de 10 à 20%, le traitement additionnel qui va permettre de réutilisation, aussi bien en termes d'investissement, les CAPEX, qu'en termes de coûts d'exploitation, les OPEX. Alors c'est très intéressant parce que finalement 10-20%, c'est pas énorme. Si vous comparez par exemple à une alternative qui serait le dessalement, on va être à 10 à 20 centimes d'euros par mètre cube, alors que le dessalement, on est plutôt de l'ordre d'1 euro par mètre cube. Donc on a envie bien sûr d'aller plutôt sur de la réutilisation des eaux usées traitées, mais on ne sait pas qui va payer, même si c'est pas énorme, c'est pas toujours clair. Et notamment, il y a plusieurs options. Soit en tant qu'État, vous dites je fais des normes de rejet très élevées Donc, c'est l'opérateur qui doit payer. Donc, si c'est l'opérateur qui paye, en théorie, c'est le consommateur d'eau qui va in fine payer sur sa facture d'eau. Ou bien on dit c'est le bénéficiaire final, si c'est l'agriculture, qui a des usages les plus classiques. Dans ce cas-là, c'est l'agriculteur qui doit payer. Mais quand, comment et tout ça, ce sont des choses qui sont souvent pas assez clarifiées, ce qui fait que c'est plus compliqué en pratique. Et donc, il y a un enjeu, je pense, sur les politiques publiques de manier habilement la carotte et le bâton. Alors, le bâton, c'est interdire le dépotage sauvage des boues, c'est interdire les prélèvements profonds d'eau dans des nappes souterraines non renouvelables. Et ça signifie avoir une police de l'eau ou une police de l'environnement. Et dans beaucoup de pays où nous intervenons, ces polices sont soit inexistantes, soit inefficaces. Et puis la carotte, elle n'est pas évidente parce que moi, ce que je constate, c'est que c'est pas la poule aux œufs d'or en fait l'économie circulaire. C'est un équilibre financier fragile. Si on regarde l'utilisation des boues, j'ai aucun exemple où l'opérateur va vendre par exemple à des agriculteurs ces boues pour qu'ils puissent faire de l'épandage ou du compostage. Au mieux, elles sont mises à disposition gratuitement et ça lui évite des coûts de mise en décharge. Et donc il y a un enjeu là-dessus de revue des cadres nationaux. On y travaille notamment au Brésil actuellement, en Colombie aussi, bientôt en Égypte. Et cette dimension institutionnelle, elle est extrêmement importante. Je pense qu'il y a aussi le sujet des crédits carbone que nous avons peu creusé pour le moment et qui est une source de relais financier pour l'équilibre financier de ces projets sur lesquels on doit mieux travailler. Alors, vous me demandiez avec quels outils on finance ça. Quand il s'agit d'infrastructures, donc de grey infrastructure, on va dire, on est sur des outils en prêt bien souvent, donc ça peut être du prêt projet, mais on a aussi des prêts de politique publique qui viennent accompagner des politiques publiques sur cette thématique. Je peux citer par exemple un prêt de politique publique en structuration au Maroc en ce moment. Il y avait le maire de Chefchaouen qui a témoigné, qui vont promouvoir notamment la réutilisation des eaux usées traitées à des fins agricoles et aussi la dépollution industrielle. Et puis, bien sûr, pour réfléchir sur les cadres sectoriels, là, c'est des subventions, qui sont souvent des ressources plus rares, qu'il faut mobiliser pour accompagner nos partenaires, nos clients dans leur réflexion, dans la préparation des projets aussi, de projets bancables. Alors, peut-être pour conclure, quels sont les défis au-delà de cet équilibre financier qu'on rencontre? Un enjeu social et d'acceptabilité qui est complexe parce qu'il dépend beaucoup d'un pays à l'autre. Mais tout le monde n'a pas envie d'utiliser des eaux traitées, des eaux avec des excréments sur ses champs. Tout le monde n'a pas envie de mettre des boues dont on ne connaît pas bien le contenu sur son champ. Et donc, de ce point de vue-là, la valorisation énergétique est un petit peu plus simple. Il y a aussi la complexité organisationnelle et institutionnelle. Si on veut travailler avec des camions vidangeurs, si on veut travailler avec des agriculteurs, ce sont des interlocuteurs nombreux, c'est plus compliqué que de travailler juste avec un opérateur public. Et puis un enjeu aussi de renforcement des compétences, des capacités, parce qu'il va falloir faire le contrôle de la qualité de l'eau, le contrôle de la qualité des boues, savoir gérer les dangers liés à l'exploitation du biogaz. Donc il y a tous ces volets-là qui font que, même en Europe, d'ailleurs, on voit bien que les stratégies de valorisation sont très différentes. Il y a certains pays comme le Portugal et le Royaume-Uni qui font essentiellement de l'épandage, d'autres qui font du compostage. Les Pays-Bas ou l'Allemagne, par exemple, les Pays-Bas, c'est 100% de valorisation énergétique des boues. Donc, on voit qu'il y a des stratégies très différentes qui arrivent. Et peut-être un mot pour conclure sur les dangers que je vois sur cette économie circulaire. En France, par exemple, c'est une pratique, l'épandage est une pratique assez généralisée depuis plus de 50 ans. Il n'y a aucun accident de santé publique qui a été détecté en 50 ans. Pour autant, est-ce que ça veut dire qu'il n'y a aucun risque? On ne sait pas. Et il y a des questions notamment avec les micropolluants, ces nouveaux polluants qui se déversent. On sait qu'à peu près 80% du flux des micropolluants qui entrent dans une station d'épuration se retrouvent dans les boues. Donc quand ensuite vous voulez épandre ces boues, que va-t-il advenir? On n'a démontré aucun risque, mais pour autant, de nombreuses incertitudes demeurent. Je pourrais citer aussi le cas des plastiques. Vous savez peut-être que les stations d'épuration sont des excellents outils de captage à la fois des macro et des microplastiques. Donc, on vient abattre les plastiques, et ils se retrouvent dans les boues essentiellement. Donc, ces boues, si vous les faites brûler, vous allez avoir une destruction du plastique, mais si vous voulez faire de la valorisation agricole, vous remettez ce plastique dans le milieu naturel et dans les champs. Et donc, l'économie circulaire, c'est très bien, mais je pense qu'on doit aussi se rappeler que la meilleure approche, c'est avant tout la réduction de la pollution à la source. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Lionel, et merci pour nous rappeler l'importance de la politique publique et des décisions publiques sur l'acceptabilité des affaires comme les micropolluants. Et donc, ça c'est une bonne transition pour la fin de cet échange. We will now turn a bit, we are a bit behind the time, so I suggest that if you have specific questions for the people that has intervened, that you share with the secretariat, or we will go later to a networking where you can pick your person. But if you have any key message, one or two very important message you want to share from the public also, so that we can have one or two interventions very briefly. I see somebody there. Yes? She's the next speaker. Okay. So anybody else, anyone that wants to share any thoughts? If not, then we move to the last session, which is actually the movie time. We will turn to Linda, who will present precisely this film projection, Majors Make Movies. So I turn to you, Linda.
Can be heard? This is good? Everyone can hear me? So my name is Linda Lilienfeld, and I am a film and picture researcher, and I created Let's Talk About Water as a way to build a bridge between, is it too loud? Because I made it very loud for my headset. Or maybe I should go like this. Maybe I'll go like this. But I don't think you realize there's a famous movie star in the room, and it is the mayor of Szechwan. Because I think we should give him a hand. I want to thank Oriana and Aziza and all the team because they have been open to me. I'm a film person, and I have begged them over many years to use film as a tool to bridge water science and water policy. And whenever I would hear them speak at different conferences, they would always use information about water data and watersheds. And then here we are today with this beautiful report on the circular water economy in Latin America. But one of our first works together was presenting short films made by mayors in Dakar, because they had supported a beautiful survey when Secretary General Angel Gurria was here about interviewing mayors in Africa. And what they learned is that mayors are on the front line of the problems, and the young people are the ones who are going to suffer from them. So I created Mayors Make Movies as a way to create a link between young people using iPhones to make the movies and empower them to meet a mayor and really talk to them. But the beauty of the mayor of Szechwan is that he actually talks to the people all the time. And so what we also realized is that young people and iPhones don't make such good movies very quickly. So we did hire producers who were very, very talented, and we made a very beautiful film that is on the website. So I have to give you an assignment, which is get your phones ready, because there will be a slight hold on the last frame with a QR code, and then you can access the website, letstalkaboutwater.org, and then you'll be able to actually see the mayor in action, talking to young people and looking at the beautiful collecting fountains that exist in Szechwan, and see how mayors really work with the people of their cities. And it's a very big compliment that we bring the mayors together here and learn from each other. I did a second, I was inspired also by people I met at the Water Governance Initiative that work at ANA and had created the Latin American Water Forum, which was a first. And it was using water and watersheds as the basis of understanding. And so that inspired me to realize that the Mayors Make Movies was one initiative, but I created the Latin American Prize for short films about water and science. So you are going to see two of the winners that we presented here. And then I also created a new competition that's about arid land, which you will see, and it's called Back to Our Future. And it's in conjunction, the Latin American Prize was in conjunction with IHP, based in Montevideo with Miguel Doria. And we announced in Costa Rica. So we were in Costa Rica when we did the announcement of the winners of this prize. And the latest competition on now is about arid lands and ancient hydro technologies. So this too encompasses a world of solutions for water. But my latest idea, because we might run out of time by the time we're over with the movies, and they'll say we have to get out of the room and we have to go to the cocktail party. So I'll say it right now. Hearing everybody talk, when you talk about circular economy and you talk about social circularity, what you're really addressing is people crossing silos. And what that always requires is information and knowledge and tools to communicate. And so I'm a film researcher for 50 years. I believe in the power of film to communicate. It's on an informational level, but also on an emotional level. It also can be fun. So I would like to eventually host a film competition for mayors about case studies about circular economy. And I think in a year or two, we can mount that and we can announce it and launch it, and you would all be invited. But we do have the movie star here who will show you how it's done well, the mayor of Szechwan. So let's roll the movies. And if I have a moment to talk at the end, I'll take advantage of it. But make sure you take a photo of the QR code at the end. Enjoy the movies. And let's roll them one after the other.
Bienvenidos. Hoy les daremos un tour por el planeta Tierra. Este es el planeta Tierra. En la Tierra vivía el humano. Los humanos llamaban al azul el color del cielo y el agua. ¿Por qué le pusieron tierra? Si es azul y está llena de agua. El humano estaba constituido por 70% de agua. Y en el planeta del agua, los humanos encontraron las formas perfectas para acabar con el agua. El agua. Solo es posible la vida en este planeta por la existencia del agua. Los humanos y el resto de especies de flora y fauna dependían de ella. Así se ven algunos de los humanos que cuidaron el agua. Aquí, en el año 2024, presentamos al humano de ciudad y sus prácticas diarias. Al humano se le dijo que en 2025, unos 1.800 millones de personas vivirían en países que se enfrentan a la escasez del agua. El humano no hizo nada. Aquí, el humano comparte en sus redes de comunicación global imágenes para regañar a otros humanos que no cuidan el agua. Por acá, el humano no hace nada para decirle a los humanos fuera del mundo digital que salven el agua. El humano creía que si se bañaba en 5 minutos iba a salvar el planeta Tierra. El humano, en lugar de salir de sus casas a iniciar una lucha colectiva para salvar su planeta Tierra lleno de agua, decidió iniciar exploraciones espaciales para encontrar agua en planetas donde no estaba seguro si había agua. El humano puso a todas las especies de su planeta en peligro de extinción y es reconocida por ser la única especie en llevarse a sí misma a la extinción. Hoy, la Tierra, sin él, se está regenerando.
Sí, este es de mi bote.
No todo se saca de la tierra, no todo tiene que salir de ella. También tiene que regresar en forma de agradecimiento. Y nosotros, las comunidades, las personas que habitamos, nos consideramos parte de ella, no dueños de ella. Todos sacamos de ella. Todo se sostiene en ella. Me imagino el futuro gobernado por las personas que habitan estos territorios. Me imagino en la biodiversidad intacta. Me imagino ser las voces en otros lugares de que acá hay vida, de que acá hay riqueza, de que acá vive gente muy buena, en total armonía y en equilibrio con la naturaleza misma.
Prepare your cameras.
It's coming. The QR code is coming. There it is, right there. There's your QR code. I hate this digital world. It's ridiculous. But you see how many issues that you have been talking about are in these films, in these short films. You can use them as teaching tools. You can use them to start the conversation. You can use new films to enlarge the conversation. Thank you so much, all of you, for letting me be here, show the films. Thank you.
And this has been a very dynamic panel, as you see, but it couldn't be really enough dynamic if we didn't give youth the voice. So I'm very glad that it was structured like this with a youth moment at the end. So we'll give the word to Leo Michalet, DNA consultant, for a short intervention on the perspective from youth. He's a student from the university and will share some observations on our discussion.
Hello everyone, I hope you hear me well. I will switch in French, sorry for the non-French speakers, but it will be more fluent for everyone. So please put your headphone. Bonjour à tous, merci à l'OCDE pour cette opportunité de m'exprimer aujourd'hui. Merci pour la qualité des présentations et des échanges qui ont eu lieu cet après-midi, que ce soit sur l'économie circulaire de la construction ou de la gestion de l'eau en ville, mais en tout cas sur notre belle planète. J'aimerais aujourd'hui vous parler en tant que jeune technicien. Je travaille aujourd'hui dans un bureau d'études spécialisé dans l'assainissement et dans l'aménagement urbain. Donc aujourd'hui, toutes les thématiques qu'on a vues, les beaux exemples qu'on a vus aujourd'hui sont cruciaux dans la gestion de la ressource en eau aujourd'hui, d'autant plus en milieu urbain et périurbain, puisque c'est véritablement là que la demande est la plus importante. J'aimerais souligner finalement le contexte dans lequel on évolue aujourd'hui, dans lequel vous, politiques, qui avez pu prendre la parole cet après-midi, mais aussi nous, techniciens, œuvrons aujourd'hui dans la gestion de la ressource en eau. C'est finalement ce réchauffement climatique qui accentue les épisodes de pluie intenses, mais aussi les épisodes de sécheresse. C'est un stress hydrique dans dans ce qui peut apporter de pire en termes de manque ou finalement de destruction avec les inondations qu'on a pu avoir, par exemple cet hiver, dans le nord de la France. Pour ma part, en tout cas en tant que représentant de notre génération, le fait de consulter le niveau des nappes phréatiques suite aux épisodes de sécheresse de 2002 et 2023 est presque devenu une habitude, d'autant plus que finalement la régénération de ces nappes phréatiques n'est pas un phénomène linéaire, en tout cas qui ne répond pas finalement aux épisodes de pluie. On a souvent des zones géographiques dans lesquelles ces phénomènes sont complètement décorrélés des épisodes météorologiques. Ce qui souligne d'autant plus l'importance de l'assainissement des eaux pluviales, de la collecte de ces eaux et en tout cas leur bonne gestion, leur bonne restitution en partie au milieu naturel. Et c'est aussi ce que j'aimerais encore une fois souligner, c'est les innovations et les moyens qui ont été mis en place de par le monde, qui doivent être, selon moi, partagés, comme ça a été le cas aujourd'hui, encouragés, comme c'est le cas dans les politiques publiques que vous mettez en place, financés par exemple l'AFD qui soutient ces projets, mais aussi encadrés par les politiques et par la loi. Pour sortir finalement de cette spirale du gaspillage de l'eau potable. Aujourd'hui, on a 25% de l'eau qui, même en France, dans beaucoup de pays de l'OCDE, qui est perdue à même les réseaux avant même d'arriver aux consommateurs. C'est une problématique, selon moi, sur laquelle les politiques doivent appuyer ou en tout cas passer la seconde peut-être. Et même malgré toutes ces problématiques, il est encourageant, et je pense que beaucoup de gens autour de la table aujourd'hui peuvent s'en féliciter, de voir que les expériences de terrain, les effets positifs des politiques publiques, finalement, permettent d'avoir aujourd'hui des effets palpables sur ces problématiques, sur ce stress hydrique, mais aussi psychologique que subissent les populations et nos générations. Et en tant que technicien, du coup, je voulais féliciter ces politiques publiques, que ce soit à Renca, à Chefchaouen, à Grigny, à Bogota, mais un peu partout dans le monde, qui permettent d'avancer sur ces sujets. Mais la route est encore longue pour permettre une véritable efficience dans la gestion de cette ressource. Et j'aimerais conclure sur une petite note cinématographique, puisque c'est de l'humeur de ce soir. Pour ceux qui connaissent le film Soleil vert de 1973, dans lequel ne serait-ce que prendre une douche devient un luxe réservé à une élite. Je suis heureux de voir aujourd'hui qu'au plus haut sommet, on fait tout et on met tout en œuvre pour que cette réalité de fiction ne voit jamais le jour. Voilà, merci.
Merci beaucoup, Léo, pour votre réflexion et inspiration. C'est vrai que quand on voit les politiciens faire des choses innovantes, c'est aussi inspirant. Donc, merci beaucoup. Well, to close this session, and I really thank our colleagues for having thought every single aspect, including the fact that we have a discussion that will give us some highlight some key messages from our discussion and link to her own research in the University of Florence. I give the floor to Maria Salvetti, Head of Water and Waste Department in the Florence School of Regulation.
Thank you very much, José Antonio. Actually, it's going to be a real challenge, obviously highlighting the key messages of this very rich session. It's also obviously a challenge to be in between people and the cocktail. So I will be absolutely brief. And I will focus actually on the 3 R's that we have seen. So reduce, reuse, recycle, and recover. With the first focus on reducing with a key element and some key efforts that are put towards water demand management, as was, for instance, the case in Chefchaouen, rather than putting efforts on augmenting, increasing the water supply. So that's the first really focus that I'm taking away on this reducing element, with the idea that being more efficient and looking for more efficiency in the water use, but also in the energy use, being efficient is maybe the first building block of this idea of reducing. So the second element being the reusing, recycling, as was mentioned in the examples of Renca, Chile, or Bogota, Colombia. Reusing, of course, while at the same time securing the environmental flows, because this is absolutely key to avoid degrading further any water ecosystems, for instance, as was mentioned for Paraguay. Here again, with reusing, we can go a bit further down the road and the thinking by saying that this is also a way to lower the risk of potential water use conflicts between water users. And we've been talking about stakeholder engagement, and obviously water use conflicts is a key element that requires, among other things, engaging with stakeholders. Also with reusing and recycling, well, quite a few regulations are today trying to foster and promote the reuse of treated wastewater. So here we see that there is definitely a key place, I'd say, a key role for public policies and regulation, but I'll be mentioning that maybe in a few seconds. The third R that I want to be mentioning is, of course, the recovering with energy production and recovery of nutrients. This is something that we have been working quite extensively on at the Florence School of Regulation, because we've been mandated by WAREG, which is the Association of European Water Regulators, on looking at how they could incentivize water and rather wastewater utilities to produce their own energy and be self-sufficient in terms of energy production. You know that at supranational level in the EU, there is a huge driver to promote a self-production of energy in the wastewater sector with the recast of the Urban Wastewater Treatment Directive. So this is really a big step. So coming from the supranational level, and of course twinkling down to the local level, where actually what we have seen is that local governments, utilities are already embarking on this trend of producing electricity out of the sludge from the wastewater treatment plant. So what we have seen is that the trend are already happening in the field, on the ground, and to some extent, we have the feeling that utilities are going faster than some of the public policies and some of the regulations. And this is quite interesting. I want to also now, as a sort of looking forward and some ways forward, I want to say that the circular water economy is a key asset really to address the main water risks that Aziza has mentioned in her introduction. And it's also a key asset to address and adapt to mega trends that many countries throughout the world are facing, such as climate change impacts, of course, urbanization, population growth, economic development, and so on. And one of the maybe the first step to address these water risks and those mega trends through circular water economy is to align regulations and policies. And it's been said, especially in the case of Bogota, with the wastewater reuse, well, there needs to be an alignment with, for instance, health regulation that sometimes are preventing the implementation of waste, or at least delaying the implementation of wastewater reuse. Also, I want to say that, and we've been mentioning that also with reuse, there is a need to think a bit about an economic model, maybe rejuvenating the economic model of water and wastewater utilities, because I truly believe that the utilities are going to become multi-services utilities, because of course they will produce drinking water, they will collect wastewater, they will treat wastewater, but they will also produce some energy for their own consumption. But we see more and more utilities being energy positive, and so being able to sell some energy to the grid and become energy producer, really. So we are seeing a lot of new revenue streams happening for water and wastewater utilities, for instance. This means that we will need to have integrated policies across sector with the water energy nexus that I've just mentioned very briefly. We have the same thing with the water food nexus and with agriculture, because, as was already mentioned, nutrient recovery is a key element also for agriculture, especially as was said in the French context for the past 50 years. And I want to finish by saying that we will need, obviously, some innovative regulations and policies, because the public policies have a key role to incentivize and promote targets on the 3 R's, so on reducing, on reusing, and on recovering water as part of the circular water economy. And I'll finish there. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Maria, for doing my job much easier, because this was a very good conclusion. Yes.
Merci beaucoup. Seulement un remerciement parce qu'un travail extraordinaire qui a été fait sur le film, sur l'initiative Let's Talk About Water, Mayors Make Movies. Merci à l'OCDE. Merci à Linda Lilfield, à toutes les équipes qui ont fait ce travail et qui nous ont permis d'avoir une discussion très constructive avec des jeunes à propos de l'eau. Je tiens aussi à remercier GCOM, Global Covenant of Mayors for Climate Energy, parce que nous lançons au Maroc très prochainement l'initiative CHAMP, et la question de l'eau, elle est cruciale et ça va être au niveau de tout le Maroc. Voilà, merci.
Very much again, and it was really, I hope that for all of you it was as exciting and as interesting, this panel. I guess it was really very interesting to go from this local to national, international, academic perspectives on water. I guess we are all more convinced, and especially those that don't work every day on water, on the importance, on the links so crucial of water with life, with culture, with local economies, with cities, challenges and solutions. So it only rests for me to thank all of you for your presence, for being here, to thank the interpreters that stayed with us so long. And, to hope that you can join us next year for a very interesting gathering again. And I guess we have all these cocktail